Hi there, this is Miss April, and I wanted to give you a few tips about how to use this site to best work with your little one at home. Now, I've come up with a 2-month curriculum that you can use for homeschooling your preschooler. Let's go through the site. First off, it's important to remember that this is a rotating schedule, so you can use this for as long or as little as you like. All of the applications, all of the programs, all of the arts and crafts activities, as well as the circle time lessons are all connected in one hub, which you can find on my channel, Miss April G School. So let's go through and see if this will work for you. Okay, so it's an 11-week rotation. What do we mean by that? The 11-week rotation starts off with our basic skills. So we want to do first our identification of letters and sounds before we move into blends or reading sight words. And then we go back through the same lessons. You're able to use what you already did in the first 11 weeks to help support the learning and enrich to the next level for the next 11 weeks. These are thematic-based units. So we want to think of them as projects, as a process, not as an end result or goal. All right, so the first time you go through, you're looking at tracing and you're looking at sounds and letter identification. Then as you go through the rotation again, you're going to take it to the next level. So with words, we're going from just identification to being able to read. When you're looking at numbers and shapes, you're going from basic 1D to something like 2D conical, from a sphere, circle, to a conical shape. And looking at the momentum, right? So for example, a ball that goes in motion is going to stay in motion as we roll it, kick it, or throw it. You're going to add in all of these layers or pieces as you go through rotation the second and third time. There's also some holiday examples. So if you want to focus on some of the national holidays, you can take a break from the 11-week rotation and go into, say, for example, in March, you might look at spring and you might look at St. Patrick's Day. And in April, you might look at Easter. These are optional holiday breaks that take you away from the 11-week curriculum, but also expand that 2-month program. So week one. Week one, you'd focus on the beach themes: sand, beach balls, the ocean, marine life. And the first time you go through week one, you might look at the letters A and B for identification. Practice tracing and writing A and B and the sounds, ah, ah. A with a vowel after says A. It sings its name, right? But B is a consonant, so B says a buh, 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 and it always says buh, buh, buh. You might practice working on the numbers 1 through 5. And that's where we get our counting: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 letters. Okay, what kind of shape might you focus on? Maybe circles. And then again, as we layer it on, the next time you go through the rotation, you might talk about spheres, connecting that to our theme, like beach ball or the sun. Some fun arts and crafts activities you might do for the beach week. Kinetic sand is great for this particular week. Building your own sandcastles at home. Sometimes it's hard to make it all the way over to the beach, so we can bring the beach to us at home. Rainbow weaving. So I love this activity because it helps with our fine motor skills. You get us ready for using pens and pencils and paintbrushes. We weave through the rainbow fish. You might fill up the sand pail with all things that you would find at the beach, right? You would use construction paper to create fishies, jellyfish, seashells. And you might make a paper plate mobile out of a jellyfish, right? Using yarn or ribbon and string. Okay, when we come back on and we layer it the second week, or the second time we go through, you might add in your sight words like a, and. Same thing, week 2. Okay, so the first time you go through, the basic theme is dinosaurs. We're going to focus on C and D identification. Trace the letter C. Trace the letter D. Whereas the second time you go through this particular unit, you're going to focus on the reading, the blends, the sounding out, identifying sight words such as big, can, do. Your shapes are going to be triangles, and of course, we build that into pyramids. And some of the activities we suggest for using in this particular unit for your arts and crafts would be making a T-Rex sun print. It's really cool. You take a shape of a dinosaur foot, you put it on a piece of black paper, leave it out in the sun, and see what happens. You can take a balloon and turn it into a pterodactyl. You can make a clothespin triceratops puppet. If you use that clothespin and put your dino on top, it's an automatic puppet. You can make paper plate stegosauruses or clay brontosauruses. And again, you don't have to do all of the activities. They're just suggestions. That's why it's a multi-month project. You can come back and pick one or two things that work for you that week. Week 3 would then be food and grocery. So the first time through, we're identifying E, F, and G. We're writing the numbers 1 through 10. We're working on identifying the numbers 15 to 20. Shape might be the crescent, for example, the moon. You might connect that to croissants or apple slices. You can do lots of fun things with arts and crafts in the grocery theme, such as cereal box puzzles. Take the front of a cereal box, cut it up into shapes, and then have your child put it back together. Playing with a shopping bag on a simple piece of scratch paper. Draw a shopping bag and have them put into their shopping bag what they'd want to buy from the grocery store. Those flyers that you get in the mail that seem like a nuisance, you always throw them out in the recycling bin. Use them, cut them up, let your student cut them up to find snacks and treats that they'd like to buy from the grocery store. There are lots of things you can do in this category, like use some pom-poms to pretend that they're strawberries or blueberries and put them in those cool little fruit baskets that come from the store. You can use a bunch of bananas or some bingo food items, flashcard and match the items. It's really easy to play in the grocery category. And when you come back the second time through, you might think about the sight words for and go. Week 4 moves on to insects. So in this section, we're looking at H and I, practicing H and I. Tracing out and identifying those letters. And then when you come back, thinking about words that start with H and I. Good sight words like here, I, is, in, on, or it. We move on to numbers 20 to 25. And then you might want to think about the squares and second time through cubes. So from 1D to 2D, 3D. Some art projects you might do, maybe some phonics cards. I like to use flashcards where you put 3 letters and they have to find the matching letter that starts the name of that bug. Like, for example, the caterpillar, they'd look for the letter C. You might do a caterpillar egg carton, or maybe you could do the projects with a jar of bugs for counting. Again, all of these arts and crafts projects you can find as you go through the units. When you look at the website for YouTube on my channel, you can see examples of all these projects. You can look at the 3 body parts of an insect, the abdomen, the head, and the thorax. And you can even use a fly swatter for fun outside for gross motor skills. Swatting the chalk. When you put out the ABCDs, they have to find the chalk and swat that letter or that word, depending on what level your student's at. I also like using noodles for doing the butterfly 4 stages so they can visually see and reflect on the stages that a caterpillar goes through in order to become a beautiful butterfly. It's also a great connection to Eric Carle's book. Also, we move on to week 5. Okay, so we're looking at the jungle. And in week 5, you're going to focus on JK. You're going to be identifying your numbers 25 to 30, looking at some ovals. Maybe you talk about the egg shape. Some really cool jungle activities might be to use some bubble wrap and take an elephant and stomp, 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 or you can become the elephant and stomp, stomp, stomp on the bubble wrap. Use those animal crackers, right? Those yummy little snacks that we all have hidden in the pantry. Use those animal crackers to sort. You can do a snake dot art pattern, some giraffe handprints, maybe a hippo, Puppet, just use a paper bag, put their head on, and there you go. Really fun is the chameleon paint project. So use a Ziploc bag. And again, you can see these activities and crafts in our playlist for lessons for little ones. And the grass cutting activity is good too for our fine motor skills. When you come back to the second time around on week 5, you might want to focus on the sight word jump. Okay, so thoughts about home preschool before we move on. Just a quick little break. Be flexible. You don't have to do everything. These are suggestions. Think about what's working and not working for your child, and then let them drive the instruction. Follow their daily routine, right? Their moment-to-moment needs. If they're feeling sleepy or they're feeling sick that day, it's okay to skip to what works for them. What works for you, right? Repetition is key. Routine is very helpful, right? So if they know what to expect, sometimes even as my toddlers get older, I put out a list on the board so they can visually see, first we're going to do this, then this, before we get to our reward. If it's not fun, stop. Check for their well-being. What are their socio-emotional learning needs? Are they feeling hungry, tired, angry? Are they feeling overwhelmed? It's okay to stop and check in before we move on and let the child drive the way of what they need. And of course, always challenge, right? Build something new into your curriculum by giving us fine and gross motor skills. What can I do with my hands? What can I do with my body in order to become stronger? So we're through month 1. Let's go on to month 2 of this preschool curriculum. In week 6, we recommend working on lions and leopards. Lions and leopards, my big cats is what I call it. So L, M, and N are the letters we're identifying. And then you're connecting to the words lions, leopards. Your writing is going from letter 10 to 20. And then counting identification, we're going to work on backwards. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, into our blast off. Shapes, the rectangle, and of course you can move on to prisms if you're going through the second round. Sight words for second round would be look, me, and my. A couple of arts and crafts ideas here. You could take that paper plate that we've been talking about and turn it into a lion with a giant mane. You can take a simple piece of black paper and turn it into a tiger and add those stripes on. Edible art is so much fun. I love food. So if you like food too, you can take your food and turn it into artwork, like creating a lion waffle. You can use Play-Doh to create lion with a pipe cleaner, or a handprint can be turned into a lion. Even noodles can become the mane for your lion. And remember that paper bag we were talking about for the elephant? You can also use the paper bag for creating a lion puppet, which takes us to week 7. So here we're going to be working on O, P, and Q. We're going backwards all the way from 15, and our shape's going to be the diamond. A couple of arts and crafts activities. You might create a bird cage using some pipe cleaners. You might work on creating a collar for one of your stuffed animals using a simple pipe cleaner and some beads. Create a fish bowl. Add some sand, real sand from outside, and add your fishy in water, of course. Maybe you're going to match some fishies to letters. You can do some pet face plates, right? Using those paper plates again to make a cat, a dog, a bird, a mouse. You can use feathers for painting, which is really cool. Gives a different texture, right? It doesn't always have to be the paintbrush. Or maybe you can use bones, dog bones, and put different letters, numbers, or sight words to sort. If you're coming back through to round 2, week 7 might be focusing on those pets with the sight words on and 1. Okay, week 8, stars and the solar system. So obviously we're focusing on S. Sight words here, if you're in round 2, might be run and see. We're writing 25 to 30, and we're counting backwards still 15, this time all the way to 1. Couple of art projects. You might paint the solar system on a paint stick. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot. Pick up a paint stick from the paint aisle and then use that paint stick to show the connection from the sun to all the planets. How far away are those planets from the sun? Painting with foil is also fun. Remember I said you don't always have to use a paintbrush, right? You might use a star stamp or maybe create a rocket ship craft. I like to take a paper bag from the grocery store, turn it into a helmet. Again, all these activities can be found when you go to our little ones' lessons. Week 9. So now we're moving on to T, U, and V. Here, we're going to be doing our vacation or transportation week. Things that move. Helicopters, cars, trucks, trains. Sight word second time around, you might work on the, to, and up. Shape here is the heart. Okay, so what are you going to do for fun? You're going to do some stoplight sorting. In other words, yellow, green, red. So you're going to take little tiny pieces of that construction paper and you're going to let them sort into the correct category matched up on their pretend stoplight. You can paint with cars, painting with feathers, painting with foil, and now we're going to add in painting with cars. Take those nice little rolly wheels, dip it right in the paint, and let them have fun. When you go to Starbucks and you pick up those stir sticks for your coffee, well, they can also become part of your art project. Grab 2 this time and make them the top of the helicopter. Maybe you can cut a paper plate in half and create a car out of it. Or turn that paper plate into a sailboat by turning the paper plate upside down, cut it in half. Or maybe you can make a hot air balloon on a paper plate. I like to use the strawberry baskets that you get from the grocery store and dip it in paint, and that becomes the bottom part of the hot air balloon. Okay, week 10. So we're almost finished here. In week 10, we're working on work. Community helpers is another nice way to put it. Nurses, doctors, teachers, traffic controllers, truck drivers, everybody who helps us out. What does it mean to go to work? This is a great concept for kids who have a parent who's going off to work. What does it mean when mommy or daddy goes to work? So they can practice. Kids learn best by emulating what they see from adults. So when you're coming back around the second time, you might focus on the sight words we, were, and was. You're writing the numbers 1 to 20, and of course, your letters are W and X. What shape? We're going to look at the line. Just a simple straight line. It's really fun to take lines, a little bit of chalk, create different types of lines, zigzag, the squiggly line, the straight line, put them on your driveway, and let your kiddo have fun following them. Okay, what can you do for arts and crafts? Play boss and customer. Dress up for work. Put on your outfit. Let them play in your clothes. Make a pretend computer or a pretend cell phone. Pack a backpack and a lunchbox. Let them do it. Pretend you're going to the post office. And of course, you can always go to these actual places and play. Create email versus mail. Look at different types of community helpers and help dress them on the construction paper. Create a cash register or create a firefighter, a policeman, and a garbage man's day-to-day activities. Week 11. So now we're going to look at the zoo, animals at the zoo, and zookeepers. If you're coming back through round 2, you're looking at the sight words you and your, and of course us. You're going to be writing the letters Y and Z. You're going to be looking at the numbers 1 to 30. Now we're going to be counting or identifying all the way up to 60. So we're looking at going from 50 all the way to 60. Our shape is the cube. And things we can play with, we come back to that animal crackers box. Some elephant balloons. And again, of course, you can do the elephant stomp that we talked about earlier. You might make a diorama. Take a shoebox and just turn it sideways and create a diorama. Put your animals inside. You might use some zoo blocks, zoo animals. Maybe put the Cheerios on a giraffe shape for his spots. There are lots of fun things we can do when we're pretending to be at the zoo. And of course, some great books you can check out in our read-alongs and our preschool little ones lessons. Okay, at the end of this unit, if you want to assess the learning, if you want to understand whether or not your child is ready to move to the next level, you might play a bingo game, looking at shapes, letter sounds, or identification of letter phoneme, the sound that you hear the letter make versus its name, right? A can say ah, A can also say its name, A. You might look at some phoneme blends or some sight words like purr or goal. You might use some flashcards to check for understanding, or maybe a board book to check for a reading check. You can create some gross motor skills games, follow the chalk lines like we were talking about, or even hopscotch is a great way to assess whether or not their gross motor skills are on track. Give some fine motor skills tracing challenges as well. Color in the lines on the page, right? You can check and see and keep a portfolio of their work to be able to look at what they've done in the past, how they are now, and where you want them to progress. One more thing. When you subscribe to this channel, you have the ability to check out all of our preloaded lessons. Again, these are all free to you. So this channel is meant to help the community. You can go to our read-alongs to connect a story to each of our units. You can go to the months of the year if you need a holiday break. You've got your sight words Thursdays that include the blends, and then you've got your little ones lessons. So when I go to little ones lessons, I'm looking for all of my items right here where you can see that they're grouped. So for example, work. So we talked about those community helpers. You'll have a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday work activity. Same thing with any of our units. So Dinosaur will have a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday that you can access. And then if you head back to the channel, you'll notice that you've got your read-alongs that happen every week, as well as your sight words that happen every week. So that Tuesday and Thursday have a new activity as well. I hope this helps you to navigate the channel and that you have a great time learning with your kiddo at home. Have a great week. See you guys later.